You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com. Welcome back to this Tuesday morning, the 21st day of November, on RiverBender.com with a writer from RiverBender.com. Syndey, good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Good morning.
So I got to ask you about this blog because when they first started, I didn't realize you were doing them. I stumbled upon them when you were with the Ameren linemen, and I thought, How cool is this? Was this always something you wanted to do?
Well, there's a lot of papers do stories like this, or, websites do things like this where they just have columns, and sometimes it's very persuasive, and that's what I used to write a lot in college. But this time around, I wanted to do something that's a little bit just more like fun and get to know you, kind of like an anecdote, and so that's kind of where that took off from. And no one told me not to, so I just went for it. Yeah.
There you go. Now you know who to thank. No. Yeah. So take me through your college. Where'd you go?
I went to Millikan University in Decatur, so it's a very small school, about 2 hours from here.
That's really cool. And now, what was your type of persuasion in college? Were you good?
I like to think so. I treated the paper back then like my diary in some ways, just got way too personal at times. But you know what? That actually works sometimes, to be really just honest and genuine. And sometimes that works to convince people about what you want to talk about. So, yeah.
And too, on top of that, it seems like when you're writing, a lot of times there's so much that happens here and you're always going. I mean, if you're actually upstairs in the office, you'll see her for about an hour and you're going to 4 other locations.
I'm all over.
So when you're writing these, does it kind of help you bring things into perspective a little bit and just kind of enjoy the moment more?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, I mean,
I don't ask very many of those.
No, it's definitely fun just to kind of take like a pause and be like, all right. So I write them usually like Monday morning first thing. Okay. So it's kind of a nice way just to get in and like kind of get back into the groove of things in the week, and then just sit down and find something kind of fun, something kind of funny or interesting to talk about. So. Now,
was it nerve-wracking the first time?
Well, the first time, yes, because that's the thing, too, because you put anything out publicly, like whatever, that, especially if it's about stuff that's just happening in the community, then it's personal, but it's also like just other things that are happening. It's not like about you.
Right.
But these blogs are definitely much more like about me and my my personality and experiences that I'm having. And, it's not like deep necessarily, but it is like personal. And so I definitely was at first kind of like, ooh, I hope I don't no one be mean to me, please. Like, that's my call. Please, no one be mean to me. That's just fine.
Well, and take me through that. So, because I thought it was really fascinating, because to me, especially when the weather gets colder here in a couple of weeks and it starts to ice and you got all the junk and maybe the power goes out, it's kind of fascinating to learn about how the Ameren linemen operate, and just to hear you in the summertime talking about how hot it was and your firsthand experience. Was that something you ever pictured yourself in a position you'd be in?
No, I never thought I'd be, all in the lineman gear and trying to climb an electricity pole. And in fact, I didn't manage to climb it. I fell right back down. So
did you really?
I did, yeah. I slid back down. And so, no, but that's kind of the cool thing about this job too. And you can, I'm sure, speak to that. But, we get to talk to so many cool people and see cool things and go cool places. And that kind of was where the idea kind of started from. It's like, well, what about the stuff that you're doing just on the side that turned out to be really neat? So, yeah.
Really? So that was just the kickoff, really?
Yeah, really. Yeah, to kind of go from there. And then, so after that, I talked about a sunset ritual that someone did.
Cool.
That was very cool. That was
that went nuts locally.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet to see. No, it was about a woman who every day would get out and go look at the sunset. And so I just decided to do the same thing one day and kind of write about it. And it was just kind of fun and different. And from there, just kind of went through and just found things that were interesting otherwise, because it seemed like people were really enjoying it, which surprised me. So just kind of going from there.
What I like is the fact that you write the article as if it would be a normal article, but then a couple of days later we see the firsthand experience, and that's what I think is cool, because you kind of supplement them with that way. Is that kind of the approach you're looking for?
Exactly, yeah. And when that's possible, that's definitely the goal. And then some of them aren't necessarily related to what we're doing at Riverbender. It just is something else. We all have our lives outside of Riverbender, and so kind of interesting just to dig into that too sometimes.
Well, when I was talking to you a couple of days ago, we were talking about driving by all the buildings, but again, this was another case where people drive by that parking lot all the time whenever it's sunset. And so, I mean, it answered a lot of questions, and I saw the comments, people going, I've always wondered that. I've
Right.
always wondered that. And to me, that's what goes above and beyond in a way that's not really, you know, I hate to say, but earth-shattering, like breaking news, the sky's falling, but enough to really drive home that local aspect.
Well, exactly. And, you know, it's about the people. And I think you and I have talked about this before, but just everyone has a story. Everyone has something interesting to talk about if you listen to them. And so, you know, and so that was one of the, just a really cool example of that is, you know, a relatively kind of just normal thing that someone's doing for themselves, but to actually sit down and talk to someone about it, there's so much behind that. And I just love that kind of thing.
Yeah, and on top of it all, too, I mean, there was, whenever I was thinking about, do I talk to Syndey yet? It was the reason being is you really, I mean, no one realizes it, but to become a writer and then right off the bat, you're just turning heads, and you have been here and not patronizing you, you know,
Yeah,
it's just,
thank you.
you're always working. And so whenever you came on, I thought, wow, this is somebody that has like 10 years of experience. You're just out of college. So how did you find Riverbender? I got to ask the question, how did you get started and what was the first article you wrote?
Okay, so I grew up in the area. I
Right.
grew up in Brighton. So Riverbender was pretty much on my Facebook feed all the time anyway.
Did you go to the community center?
I did once. Yes. Once. We had a prom here after prom. And
No
so,
way.
Yeah, I stayed here all night long once, and now I work here. So
That's how we get you.
now I stay here all night long in a different way.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, but anyway, and so, you know, I graduated college in May 2022 and then was working around just doing some freelance stuff. I did some marketing for a while for a civil engineering firm.
Oh,
nearby.
yeah, you told me that.
Briefly. But yeah, and then, you know, just John, the owner here, was looking for an opening, had an opening, and was looking for a reporter. And I was like, well, why not? I love this kind of stuff. I miss journalism, so here I am.
No kidding. What was the first story?
The first story was about the Boys and Girls Club. They were doing a new playground that opened up on, what would that be? Washington? Yeah.
Amelia,
around there.
whatever.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Amelia. And so, yeah, that
Was
was
it
really
Amelia?
cool. Yeah, I think so.
Look at that! Came to the
No,
rescue, barely. With that being said, Syndey, you know, whenever you're going out there, you're learning things on the fly for the first time, I'm sure, like, you know, how to approach somebody that's, you know, talking to 45 people and you're trying to get your questions in. What were some of the learning curves?
Well, that was definitely a big one of just trying to be respectful, so, you know, not like interrupting people, but still assertive in a way too. That was actually a really interesting part of when I was in college in my freshman year. I was doing a story about they had a debate with Rodney Davis on campus.
Really?
Because he's an alum, so that was really interesting. And anyway, and so afterwards, of course, all these reporters are like swarming him and, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, however you feel about Rodney Davis, but just that being said, he was this like big politician, which was really kind of neat to me at the time. And one of the things is one of the women reporters who was there saw me kind of on the outskirts, like trying to get in, but kind of nervous about it. I was like 18, kind of like on the side.
Yeah.
And she stepped out of the way and she said, like, come on in. And so that like really kind of opened up a little bit to me of like, oh, I can do this. I can just kind of like step in and be assertive that way and, you know, respectfully, but like do what I need to do for the job. And so that was really great and has kind of guided since then.
That's really cool, actually.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, Rodney Davis got me in trouble on the airwaves once.
Really?
Yeah, I did a story about how he was getting a little bit animated before his primary defeat to Mary Miller. I kind of called it with Hartman, and we kind of got in a little bit of trouble. But you'll have that.
Love to hear that story once we switch these off. But, yeah.
The question was, what would happen to Rodney Davis? And it just spurred from there. So second, so you started with Ameren. What's your next blog?
My next blog? Ooh, I don't even know. That's the thing, too.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I have ideas and stuff like that come up, but it kind of just is like, okay, when I actually sit down, like what seems like a story to me right now? And so, yeah, we'll kind of just see what happens, I guess.
So that's fascinating. So you don't, so it's kind of like what we talked about the other day. You do so many interviews, you forget about things that you're doing. Is that kind of the same with the blog? You're like, oh, I might have wrote about that.
Yeah, that might be interesting. Yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of comes down to, you know, there's just always a story behind something. And, you know, so kind of just going from there, whatever seems to come up or be interesting, or in my own life, I kind of go through and I'm like, what's kind of interesting right now? What's standing out to me? What am I thinking about? And I figure, you know, an anecdote, that's got to be interesting to someone else. And hopefully.
Well, you're right.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see what the comments say.
So out of all of them that you've written, and out of all the blogs you have so far, is there one that kind of connected you more than you thought you would?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't ask those. You got
No, I'm impressed. I guess one that I really enjoyed writing about was comfort food. I wrote about fall weather and comfort food and kind of, and it kind of just was like, that's really one of those that didn't come from a story that I was doing or anything. It just was like something interesting that had happened in my life was just this night of making pie with my friends. And so very basic idea. But, the more I was thinking about it, the more I was like, this has got to resonate to some other people out there who are like just, thinking about, friendship and fall and, getting darker and kind of getting darker mentally for a lot of people. And, it just at the end of the day, though, that's kind of what stands out is like these brighter moments. And so that's kind of what I wrote about. And I didn't imagine that would be as well received as it was necessarily. But
that's fascinating in itself too, because to me, and this is just me being around, like I said, just seeing some of the articles and some of the columns and opinion pieces, is a lot of the times they are a darker tone. They're hey, listen to me. Here's a point that I'm making about some policy, some code violation or ordinance. And this is why I think it's so cool is it's not this doom and gloom stuff. I mean, this is really kind of an insight to what it's like being a riverbender, really.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the goal, was just to add some personality to it, but also, life is dark enough.
No kidding.
We've got, we cover all kinds of things, and including some very sad things that just happen in any community. And so it just was kind of a chance to do something a little bit lighter.
Yeah. So this week you wrote about cows.
I wrote about cows.
So we've had a conversation a time or two about this cow stuff at lunch.
Absolutely.
Which you can never hear about our lunches. Just being serious. With that being said, the cows I find fascinating because I've always thought I have a miniature pig, this.
Yes, which really you need to talk about more.
I want to get them down here, but I don't think I can get them in my car anymore. But the reason being is I wanted a miniature cow first.
Really?
Really? Have you seen these?
They're adorable.
Oh my
they're fluffy.
God, they're amazing. Absolutely. I mean, just great creatures. It's like, whoever made them gets bonus points. But whenever I think of a big cow, I think of a 3,000-pound puppy dog.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. That's exactly, and I'm not a farm person. I will tell you.
Really?
Right now.
Okay. So I've always wondered this about you. I've never asked you this personally because I thought, when's it appropriate? When it's on the show and there's people watching, then it's funny. No. So you didn't grow up on a farm, nothing of that?
No, I didn't. I grew up in Brighton, but in the town part. So it was, a lot of my friends had chickens or had farms and that kind of thing, and I was on it on like the peripheral, but very much not involved. I have cats. That's my thing. So, doing this cow thing, this column we're talking about is babysitting cows. So I was house sitting, and I was completely kind of at a loss, but it was really fun.
So what were some of the ins and outs of this cow business?
The cow business. Wow, where to even start? I will say they really are like puppy dogs. I was not expecting that. They are so sweet and just want to be like loved on. And I will say I'm not a vegetarian, so like no judgment.
Really?
I'm not. No.
Now we talked about this. Did you try?
I've always tried. I always try. I try again and again, and then it just doesn't work out. And so, yeah.
That's fascinating. I have more, but I want to listen to this.
Well, this was the closest I ever got though, because I was like, these guys I can't do it. I can't, and I still can't think about it too much. But
did the eyes get you? Is that what you just said?
It was the eyes. It was just like everything about them. They were just too cute. And one of them was being bottle fed at the time. He was so little. And so that was just really, that got me right here. I couldn't do it.
So what are you tackling all throughout this blog?
All throughout this blog. Oh, so we talk about the cows. Mostly talk about baby cow, who was an orphaned cow who had been found and was being raised now by the people I was house sitting. And then a very patient big cow who was there and hanging out. And she was very patient with the little guy. And so that was cute. And basically throughout the week or so that I was house sitting, we hung out, me and the cows, became best friends. And then at like one of the very last days, I was doing the thing. I was leaning in to pet the cow. I was having a really nice moment, and then I leaned too far and got the fence. Got the fence.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, that hurt. That was scary too, because I don't know how often you've been zapped by
a couple of times.
Yeah.
I can't say how, but I was stuck a couple of times.
Yeah, no, I get
shenanigans.
That. Sure. And so you get shocked, you jolt back. So that really was kind of unnerving. I was not prepared for that necessarily. And then this poor cow that I had been petting, she just ran away and had been shocked too. And that I've never felt more guilty in my life than that moment. So,
Well, and that's what's so great about this is just because I know you just, whenever we're talking at lunch, when you get into work, you're a pretty caring person, so I can imagine that this was kind of a moment that you thought about for a couple of minutes.
It's still haunting me, clearly. I wrote about it, so yeah.
What are you writing about next?
I'm not positive. I have some ideas about, Thanksgiving and stuff like that. We'll kind of see what happens in this next week or so. I'm sure something interesting will come up. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
So when do your blogs come out? Is it every week?
Usually, yeah, it's once a week, usually Monday or Tuesday, depending on just what else needs to come out that day.
There you go. How fun was this? We got 15 minutes in and out.
Look at that. Yep.
Like the CIA. We'll take a quick break. Daily Show on a Tuesday comes back to you next, and you can catch Syndey right here on RiverBender.com.